Good day, guys. So the movie Barbie. What do I think about the movie Barbie? First, I'm going to say, out of the two that came out that day, I went to see Oppenheimer first. The masculine in me was like, let's go see Oppenheimer. It's more serious. It's 3 hours long. Let's get it over with. Loved it. And then I saw Barbie. It wasn't the same day. So what do I think about the movie Barbie? Well, first, let's talk about the visual idea, like what it looked like. The movie was cool, super, super cool. Why? Because for me, it showed me things I haven't seen before. Anytime, I love when I go and see something, like a show or a movie or something, or like some kind of exhibition, play, where I'm just dazzled, especially visually. And this is what this movie was. It just was so... There was so much color, there was so much detail, there was so much, the way they built these sets, the way that they, the makeup, the hair, the wigs, the colors, like the dresses, the cars. It's cute, cool, unique, just like wow. Like you watch it and right away you're transported into this world. Like the little kid in you comes out automatically. So now let's talk about the storyline. The subject matter. This is where things get hairy. When I looked at the reviews, when I got home after the show, I went to see the reviews, and I saw on Google, I saw a lot of 5s and I saw a lot of 1s. So obviously it's very polarizing. It means a lot of people got triggered, which is good. When you get triggered, it means it shows you something that some kind of beliefs you hold on to that you have a chance to reconsider and kind of say, wait a minute, what's going on here? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got to reconsider this. So getting triggered is good. Now, with the bad reviews in general on any show that you see, a lot of times when people watch something, they, especially when you see reviews that say, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, I walked out after the first 5 minutes, is because when they come in and the first time that they see something that is in conflict with what they believe in, they right away project their own beliefs. And they give up and they go, no, this is not good. I don't want it. I'm out. I would say sit there and see what the director is trying to say. Give him a chance to speak. Maybe he's trying to make a point. Maybe he's showing something and later showing something else to kind of show you. But a lot of people right away, we're so sensitive now. We're so we get triggered so fast. We're like an exposed nerve that's so sensitive to the touch. We hear something, we see something, one little thing, and right away we're like, I gotta go, this movie sucks, this sucks, and then we go home and we lay it out for everybody else to see. So when the movie started, I kind of was like that because I saw that Greta, I'm not gonna say yet if I liked it or not, okay? I'm gonna summarize it at the end, but I'm just kind of gonna get to it slowly, nicely from all sides, okay? Give you the general big picture overview. So when the movie first starts, of course, we get exposed to the matriarchy way of things. And initially I was like, uh-oh, here we go. The feminists are gonna love this, because it's all girl power and girls and and everybody's, women are in power. And then I said, all right, let's see what happens. Let's see what's going on here. Then we saw patriarchy. And then I was like, all right, I was trying to see what Greta and Noah wanted to say by this, what was the whole idea of going here to here. And then I thought to myself that she showed us both extremes. She showed us the extreme of matriarchy, which is an extreme, and patriarchy, which is also an extreme. And she showed it beautifully. And then she goes, okay guys, here's how it can be when women are in power, and here's how it can be when men are in power. And then she kind of gave us a message of wait a minute, let's not be here, let's not be here, let's come somewhere here. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So when I looked at it, I said, okay, it's very polarizing. People are angry. The feminists, the women, some people actually thought that it was about feminists, that it was empowering to feminists, which in turn made the man angry. I don't think it was strictly for feminists. I think it empowered both sides. I don't think Greta took a stance, and I love that the screenplay was written by her and her partner Noah. So you have two perspectives, a man and a woman coming in and writing from a male perspective, the struggles of a man, the struggles of a woman, the frustrations of both sides, and they're showing it. And it's so nice because they merge them so beautifully and gave us kind of like a way out, because we always want to say, well, what do we do? Like, we don't want to be oppressed by these people. We don't want to be oppressed by these people. So what do we do? So then you meet in the middle by focusing on you, your own power. Because whenever you are in these extremes, that means you gave your power away. If you are on the suffering side in matriarchy, if you're a man on the suffering side in matriarchy, or you're a woman on the suffering side in the patriarchy, it's because you gave your power away to the opposite gender. That's why. And the what I thought was cool was that she showed that neither side works. Because on this side, yes, the girls are powerful, they're in powerful positions, they're always together, they're always so nice to each other and all that. And the men are just basically sitting there. What was cool was that I loved was that she showed like how, you know, the men are sitting there trying to get validated by Barbie, wanting to spend time with her. And then she's like, you know, she's like, I don't have time for you. I'm here with the girls. All the time it's about the girls. It's the same way that girls are in patriarchy, where they're like, honey, you know, look at me, like, I'm here to serve you. It was cool how they showed Ken in the same role that, let's say, women can be, you know, in that serving role. And they showed men that way too. And I like that, because we always tend to think of like men as oppressors and men as like the bad guy, but then you have a situation where we don't realize that there's many instances where women are the one oppressing. I mean, you have families where the woman is basically the tyrant and the dictator. And I see them around where I live. You know, you'll see a guy and he's got a stroller and he's got the baby and he's so tired and he's just walking there, and the wife's like yelling in his ear, and we got to do this and this needs to be done and you're not doing it right and this, and the man is just like, and you can just see, like, I just want you guys to keep in mind that abuse and tyranny can happen on both sides, okay? It's not just men. You know, we always have to remember that women can be just as nasty. So the if you were triggered by this movie, you are probably living in one of those extremes. So let's say you're a girl and you got triggered by it. More than likely, you're living in the world where you gave your power away to the guy in your life, and it could be your father, it could be male co-workers, it could be your boyfriend, guy friends. You know, you gave your power away, so you're angry, and you have the right to be angry because you're like, these people are running my life. But at the same time, what we have to keep in mind, guys, is instead of being angry at them and blaming them for my life, you know, I gave you the best years of my life and I give you everything and you don't give me anything back and whatnot. You have to kind of see that you gave them that power. You believe the narrative. You gave them the power to decide what you're going to eat, where you're going to go, what you're going to dress like, what are you going to do around the house if you live together. You gave your power away. So in a way, yes, you are angry because you think that these people are keeping you from living your best life. But at the same time, you have to see, and it's painful to acknowledge that, holy shit, I allowed it. Little by little by little, I gave away my power. I gave away my decision-making skills. I said, okay, yeah, okay. So instead of be angry, but instead of sitting there and fighting and saying, you know, down with the man, we don't need him, fuck him, you know, they're whole bad and, you know, they're oppressing us. Instead of trying to take them down, focus on yourself and try to take your power back, but not by fighting them, not by going against them and trying to ruin their life. All you have to do is in that moment, make a different decision. In that moment, you put your foot down and you say, you know what? I don't want that. And a lot of it has to do with your own male-female balance inside of you. We all have that, male and female. So if you are in a patriarchal situation, that means that you are completely not in touch, unfamiliar with the male energy within you. The dude inside of you is basically asleep. This is why you're relying on male energy outside to complement that, because you have too much of the feminine energy. You're sitting too much in that energy of, okay, that passive, receiving energy. And yes, you are small that way. That's why you need the balance of masculine energy, that they both have to be in you. So the reason you are attracted to a partner like that is because you're compensating, because your own dude inside of you, that male in you, is sleeping. You're completely not in touch with him, or you're not listening to him, and so you are attracted to a very strong, very masculine kind of guy to compensate for that. So all you have to do is wake up that masculinity within you and start making decisions. And in the moment say, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want sushi tonight. I think I want pizza. Or no, I don't want pizza tonight. I think I want whatever. You make the decision. And you'll see that with time, what's going to happen is either that partner is going to have to adapt to the new you, and he may not like it in the beginning, and he may kind of, why he's not going to like it? Because you're trying to claim some of your power back, which means he's going to have to give up some of his power. So he's not going to like that, but he's going to have a choice too, either to adapt to the new you and start taking you into consideration, or he's going to basically say, well, that doesn't work for me, and then you'll have to separate. And that will be difficult because you're going to have to literally realize that this was my comfort zone. I am scared to leave, but at the same time, you're like, I can't be the way I was anymore. And this is why this movie was so great, is because a lot of girls, because I read an article about it, that a lot of women broke up with their boyfriends because they kind of realized, like, wait a minute, I am like that. They saw themselves in the movie. That's why this movie is cool, because it showed a little bit, everybody had something to see in this movie, everybody. And everybody picked up on something. So they kind of realized, like, wait a minute, I gave my power away. I don't like that. Maybe she didn't know she can be a different way. But for that, you'll have to say, okay, you'll have to be okay with losing that comfort zone and going to a different direction. But don't be afraid, you'll be fine. So the same thing goes with men. If you are in a matriarchal relationship and you gave your power away to the woman, and what are the reasons why we give power away? We give power away for resources. Let's say financial. Let's say we want financial security. So we say, okay, I'm going to play small. I'm going to do whatever he or she wants, as long as I have a roof over my head and whatnot. That's probably what happened to the housewives in the 50s. Once again, yes, they lived the lives they lived because they didn't know they could do differently. They literally believed the narrative that maybe we're not as smart as the men, maybe we're not as logical as the men, and they were frustrated as hell, because you see them, they're all depressed, but that's because they have all this energy that's not being used, and they were like, God damn it, like, I hate it. But they were probably afraid. Maybe they were afraid to leave because they were afraid they're not going to have any money. They didn't know they could get a job. There's a lot of fear is always a big paralyzing factor in changing your life. But they knew that something wasn't right. And all it took was maybe one housewife that said, you know what, not today. I don't want to vacuum today. I'm just going to go and do something here. And then another one did that. And then they got together and they told their girlfriends. And one by one, women started saying, I don't want to do this today. I want to do this. And then, of course, the husbands were like, what the hell? And that's how liberation happened, is, not by fighting against these people and trying to take them down and protesting them. It's just by not doing what you don't want to do. One woman said, you know what? I don't want to wear this freaking bra anymore. It's hurting me. It's pressing in me. I'm going to just go without a bra. Boom. Women burning their bras. See, all it takes is one, and then two, and then three, and then, that's how people get kind of liberated. One has to make a different choice. So anyway, going back to the idea of why we give our power away: for financial reasons, stability, security; for validation reasons. Let's say we don't have a lot of self-worth. We don't think that we're attractive or whatnot, and we rely on another to tell us that. For security reasons, as far as protection, I need somebody to protect me. Maybe you have a fear of the world. But once again, if you have that male energy in you, if the male in you is dormant, then yes, you're going to be afraid of everything. You're going to be shy about everything. You're going to be afraid to speak up. You're going to talk in this very low voice, not from the stomach, but from okay, hi. I hear that sometimes, and I wonder, you want to tell the girl, you have another voice. This is not your voice. You have a voice that's right here. Try to speak through that voice. That's your real voice, not the little one that you make just to fit in. So So yeah, if that masculine energy in you is dormant, you are going to be afraid of the outside world. So you will compensate by attracting a very masculine, strong male to kind of protect you. So that's why we give our power away for different reasons, emotional reasons, financial, sexual reasons, all kinds of stuff. Men are the same way. If you're in a matriarchal relationship and you realize like you're like frustrated and you see that she is basically, her dick is bigger than yours and her balls are bigger than yours, and she's making all the decisions about, she's telling you how to dress, that's a big sign, guys. If your woman is telling you how to dress, how to get your hair cut, how to match everything, I'm like, it's okay, but I almost feel like I know you inside of you have your own desires on what you want to wear and how you want to do your hair, and if you want to cut it, or maybe you want it long or short, or what kind of socks you want to wear or shoes. Okay, so if you notice yourself where the woman is basically telling you what to do, yelling at you, she's, and why she's like that, because she's in her masculine energy. And the guy over there is in his feminine energy. His male is also dormant. He's dormant, and so he doesn't put his foot down. He's maybe afraid. He maybe doesn't trust himself in the outside world. Maybe he's afraid of the competition, about the other males being around him. There's so many factors here, guys. It's always fear. Fear is always the one that keeps us somewhere, telling us that there is no other choice. This is all you get. So if you're in a relationship like that, obviously you're going to have a lot of anger, frustration, and the article that I read, some of the guys broke up with their girlfriends because they said, I don't want this anymore. I want to make my own decisions. So you connect to the male energy within you, put your foot down and say, you know what, I don't want to do this. And you know what, we're not going to go see your mom this weekend. And you know what, I don't want to sit with the kid anymore. I want to go do this. So there's all these things that are happening. The other extreme is, now let's ask this, why are people in these extremes? Because we talked about the people that are smaller, people that are living in matriarchal situations at work, with your family, with your partner, because it can play out in different scenarios. Okay, it doesn't have to be just with your partner that you're living with. It can be with your family members. You're playing that role, small or big. If you take the other extreme, the ones that are powerful in these relationships, they have their own, in a way, agenda. I would say the reason we go into these extremes is because of trauma, especially the ones that are in charge, the ones that are laying down the law, the ones that are being the matriarch or the patriarch. There was some kind of trauma where they lost power before in a relationship. Let's say first love. Let's say a guy who loved a girl, gave her everything, his body, his mind, his soul, and she just basically spit in his face. And after that, there's this wound, and after that, there's this anger toward women, females, the anger that I will never be that vulnerable again. I will never be that exposed again. I will toughen up. I will be in charge. I will lay down the law. So a lot of times it's like that. A lot of times women that become that way are the ones who also had some kind of trauma where they were vulnerable or exposed at one time and they were taken advantage of. They gave their power away. And that's what happens. Sometimes these little girls that are, let's say, suppressed and submissive, they go to the opposite extreme and become these tyrants. That happens a lot. Eventually they come in the middle. But a lot of times people go from one extreme to the other. Whenever you're suppressed in some way, you go to the other extreme. And then eventually you come to the middle and you go, okay, I don't need to be all cray-cray. I can just, eventually the pendulum always has to swing the same intensity until it comes to the middle and it slows down. So the girls that are matriarchal like that, they are at one time gave their power away, felt vulnerable, gave everything to the guy, were taken advantage of, cheated on, whatever, lied, and they were like, never again. And they toughen up and then they go, I will be in charge. And that's what happens. And then they become, in a way, empowered that way. But what happens with power corrupts. And a lot of times the angrier you are at your trauma, the angrier you are at what happened to you, the more you're going to be vicious on this side. You're just going to be like, because you're like, we can never go back to what happened. We can never go back to being that exposed, ever. And so they really toughen up. And then of course, once you have power corrupts. And it would take a lot of purity and self-awareness to have power and not to abuse it. Majority of us, when we get in powerful positions, we end up abusing them. We end up just kind of, it just happens as if you're a human. If you become very self-aware, then you can kind of say, okay, watch out for not becoming a tyrant. But if you get a lot of power, you'll notice people, anytime they get into powerful positions, no matter what, politicians, businessmen, church leaders, gurus, it all starts out very nice and sweet. I want to help the world. And then as soon as they get power, boom, something shifts and they just become, it all just, and then eventually they crumble down. They collapse. So then the idea of, the idea of like a man's world, woman's world, you hear that a lot, like especially with girls, you hear like, it's so tough in a man's world. Okay, well, here's what I have to say to that. Or maybe men feel that way, it's so tough in a woman's world. Maybe there's men that think of it as a woman's world. I bet I was thinking about that the other day, because it seems like women are so much more empowered now because they're so angry, like in their DNA, they have that like anger and rage from all the centuries of suppression, and they're just like, no. And I almost feel like the white man, like the Anglo-Saxon WASP guy, is becoming a minority. And I sometimes wonder, like, to ask him, I'm like, dude, how do you feel? Do you feel like you're very small now? Because you're about to be extinct, I bet guys feel that. And in a way you understand it, because the WASP guy was the one that was in charge, was the one that called down the shots, was the one that made all the decisions everywhere. He was everywhere. So it makes sense that now all the women with their memories of suppression are like, no, not again. And so it's kind of threatening to the WASP, to the white Anglo-Saxon guy. Maybe, I don't know, you guys know better. So yeah, so when you say man's world, woman's world, I would say instead of calling it a particular world or a white man's world, the idea of like privilege, that's a big one now in certain circles, where they say, privilege, white man privilege, male privilege, pretty girl privilege, white privilege, maybe black privilege, all those things. Instead of blaming a group of people for why your life is the way it is, you have to see that you bought into that narrative, okay? This is what happened. You gave your power away. So you can be angry at them, you can be upset, you can hate them for all the centuries of the damage that was done, but there has to come a moment where you say, you know what? I have to take my power back. I have to focus on myself. I have to not do what I'm supposed to be doing, stereotypically. That's how you change things. You don't sit there and fight against them and hate them because you're being just as nasty as you were. All the girls now, all the women that are all about empowerment and female and all that feminism, they're just as nasty as the men were. They are, because they're angry and they're hungry for power, and they're just as damaging. They could do a lot of damage with that too. So I would say, don't go to the extreme. Realize that it was a man's world because the women gave their power away. They bought in the narrative. Kind of like in the movie where they said that, Angelica Ferreira has to like tell them everything, kind of like snap them out. The same thing happened there. The housewives of the 50s, they bought the narrative. The women before, where they were told that they're not smart, they bought the narrative. They didn't question it. They didn't say like, wait a minute, I'm not dumb. Because they're not. The women were always powerful. They just didn't know it. Okay? They were basically like blinded in a sense. Like, woman, know your place and stuff. It was like that. That was the time like that. That was the game. And here's why I say that was the game. Because I think initially when Earth and all this humanity was created, I think initially it was matriarchy. I've read that, and I think to me, I'm okay with that idea. With me, it resonates, where it was matriarchy. Women were in charge. And then, because creation is all about expansion, it's all about trying things. It's all about trying this and trying that. Let's introduce this. Let's see where we go. So they said, okay, let's go to the opposite side. Let's make the man powerful. Let's see. We saw what the women can do by being in power, what matriarchy is about. Let's see what the men can do while being in power. So humanity went that way. And yes, we saw a lot of bad things. There was a lot of bad things. There was a lot of suppression. And I think now we're like, all right, let's kind of level it off. But instead of going back to matriarchy, let's meet in the middle. Let's find that middle ground where we can both be on this planet. We need each other. And that's why I'm going back to the movie, the same thing with Greta. She didn't take a side. She showed how it's one extreme, how is another extreme. Let's put them together and let's just focus on, let's forget about the stereotypes of society. How, there's a moment where Ken goes, you know what? Because society tells, men that they need to be muscular and they need to drink beer and they need to have their men caves and they need to be, what do they do? Horses and boxing and all that stuff. That's stereotypical. I guarantee you there's men that are like, that's not me, that's not me. And that's the key, is find what makes you as a man, find what kind of man you want to be. You are here to define these stereotypes. Like, instead of hating the women, instead of hating the stereotypes, find what makes you a man. Find that blend between the masculine and the feminine in you and see what kind of man you want to be, what kind of man you want to represent. Same thing with women. Barbie, as she's telling Ken, like, Ken, find you, not by sleeping with me, not by being a bro, not by all this, but you, cry it out, get all your frustration out and figure out who you are. What do you like? Not what society tells you to like, but what do you like? And then as she's saying that, you can see in her eyes that she's like, holy shit, I gotta do the same thing too, because she was literally labeled stereotypical Barbie. So she had her stereotypes of what she's wearing, how her hair is, what she does every day. So she kind of goes, wait a minute, I don't want that either. I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to do something else. And then you see how she changes at the end of the movie. So that's why the beauty of it is that, I guess all in all, you can tell that I liked the movie. I liked it because it was empowering for everybody. It wasn't meant to divide us again. It was meant to kind of show, guys, we can all get along. Figure out how you are. The women, that monologue by Angelica Ferreira where she's so frustrated and she's like, we have to be like this, and then we're like this, but then we have to be like this, then we have to be mothers, then we have to be skinny. All of that frustration, yes, it's valid, it's freaking valid. But the key, once again, is okay, you can be angry, because I can't tell you not to be angry. Be angry at what you bought into. Don't be angry at the people who gave you this narrative, but be angry at the fact that you bought into it. Be angry at yourself also and say, God damn it, I believe that that's what I need to do. Be angry for a while, whatever, a day or two, a month, a week, a year. Get it out of you, get that rage out of you, and then go, okay, I'm done. I'm bored of being angry. Let me figure out who I am, what I want to do, and what's next for me. And start defining these stereotypes, okay? Find out what kind of woman you want to be, what kind of mother you want to be. Instead of trying to optimize, like you see a lot now, girls are just making videos about optimization, gotta do this and be perfect here. Fuck that. Say, I am gonna be the way I'm gonna be, and then find within you what kind of woman you are, what kind of mother you are, what kind of lover you are, what kind of female you are. In you find the blend of the masculine and the feminine, and be a woman that is not like stereotypical. Be you, like in the sense of, I know you hear it all the fucking time, the cliche of be you, like fine, but what the fuck does that mean? That means that every moment you're like, what do I like? What do I want to do? What do I prefer? When you go to your wardrobe, what do you want to wear today? Not the bicycle shorts and the sports bras that everybody's wearing in the summer. It drives me nuts, guys. Everybody the same. They're robots. Or the cosmetic surgery that we do, the big boobs, the butts and the lips and all that, because we think that that's what's beautiful. That's another stereotype. So the irony is that it's sick in a sense. On one hand, you're angry at society because you're like, God damn it, I don't have all these features that they want me to have. I don't have the body that they want me to have. But God damn it, I sit there and I do it because I think that that's what I need to look like. So you have to stop that and be angry at society, and then stop and say, it's me. I have to take my power back and say, I don't want this. I'm okay with my small boobs, small butts, small lips, eyes like this, hair like this, straight, curly, whatever. And you find your own signature of a woman or a man, whatever body you're born in. You find your own signature. If you're transgender, if you're gay, whatnot, you also have to find your own blend, your own spice. Think of yourself as a spice. Salt is different than pepper. Cumin is different than paprika. Fruits are different from each other. Instead of trying to be like everybody else, man too, find you, your own freaking signature, and represent that to humanity. And then you will never say that this is a man's world or a white man's world or a black man's world or a woke world. You will be like, this is my world and this is me and this is what I bring to it. Like for me, I'm a girl and I can wear a polka dot dress and I can be all girly, I can do my hair all cute, put on makeup. But tonight, I'm gonna watch football. I'm gonna watch my Jets because I'm a Jets fan. I love that. I love hockey. I love concerts. I love Broadway shows. I love movies. I love games. I love to play games. I like to play chess. I'm a girl. I can cook, but I'm not a fan of cooking. I'm lazy. I used to. You gotta find your own blend. What kind of woman you are. And that's in the movie. I keep going back to the movie because we are doing a review of the movie. That's what Greta and Noah, that's the point that they make, is like, find you. Who are you? Have a good cry about it, like Ken did. Have a good yelling about it. Be angry at what you bought into. That's why we cry, guys. We cry because we realize what we bought into, because we realize that it's not true. And that's why we're angry, because we bought into somebody's idea. And then you realize that you can't blame another race, another economic group, another country, or another gender for your unhappiness. It's in your hands. As cliche as that sounds, it is. And you can start out small. You just literally have to see, like, what do I want? What do I like? Especially if you're the one that really lost yourself in another person, in their likes, desires, wants. In the beginning, it's going to be hard for you to really see what you like, what you want, but it will come to you. If it will come to you in a moment, just kind of talk to yourself. All right, do I want this? Do I not? What do I really want? And if the person's pushing you, because some people can be very pushy, what do you want? Come on, make up your mind. Whoa, hold on. And then you'll know if they're being too much, if they're being pushy, and if they're not respecting you. You'll be like, I don't want this anymore. There's gonna come a point, you're gonna wake up. And that's what the movie helped do with some people. It woke them up. It showed them, they saw themselves, and they were like, I don't like this. You wake up and you're like, I don't want this anymore. And I don't like you. And I don't want to listen to your stuff. And I don't want to go with you to these Tupperware parties. And I don't want to go with you to like hunting or whatever, You always have to kind of remember what you like. And then with the person that you're with, you kind of blend beautifully. There's some things that you're going to want to do together, but you both have to want to do them. And there's some things that you will say, babe, I love you to death, but I don't want to go to your mom's today. Or I don't want to go shopping with you. You can go. Learn to let each other go in a way. Learn to give space to each other. That way you will miss each other. Don't go right away, I miss you, I love you, where are you, my boo, whatever. Give them a break. Do it like the old days, back in the old times, when the man would go somewhere and the woman would be home and they wouldn't see each other, they wouldn't talk, there was no cell phones, and then at night they miss each other, they come home, they maybe have sex or not, they have a nice dinner, they talk because they haven't seen each other. But now we're so like intertwined with one another, we're up each other's asses, like, do you love me? Can you text me? Why didn't you text me? I'm waiting for you, always waiting, wait. Just release each other, and then you'll see that you will miss each other more, and your interactions will be so much more fruitful and rich. What else? Lots of talking, guys, as you can tell. Well, because the subject is so big, there's so many things you can say about this. You can go so many tangents. So I'm trying to cover everything. Instead of trying to destroy the system, create. Don't destroy, create. Don't criticize what they're doing. Create something of yours. That's how you change the world. Not by criticizing the opposite party, but like, let me make something that, this world hasn't seen before. Every one of us has a very specific signature that we have. And if you really connect to that, you can bring forward some really cool things. Cool movies, books, designs, drawings, songs, buildings, all the interests that we have. You can bring so much if you connect to that part of you, that creator in you. Every one of us, there's a creator. What else? Talking about the monologue, Ferrera's monologue where she's like a frustrated woman. I was thinking, I bet you could take a guy and he could deliver just as powerful monologue about how hard it is to be in today's world, to be a guy in today's world. And here's some examples. And you might think like, that's bullshit. Men have it so easy. No, they don't. I bet they don't. And if you really ask your guy, like the guy you're with, instead of being angry at him, just ask him like, hey man, give him that break in a sense. If he's a good guy, if he's a dick, don't even bother. If he's a good guy and you see and you're sitting there yelling at him, just ask him like, hey, what are you frustrated about? Like, do you give him that vulnerable moment. You know how Ken cries in the movie? The same thing here. I guarantee you guys would love it if one moment they could just burst out and be vulnerable and be that little boy again and tell you all their fears, all their frustrations, all of their pains, everything. It would be such a liberating moment for him. Because what are they frustrated about? They're frustrated with, they don't know how to be with girls anymore. On one hand, women, we want a guy who's aggressive, who takes charge. But then if he's too aggressive, we're like, oh, he's creepy, he's a stalker, get away from me. We want him to show up for us sexually and be like, but then it's like, oh, you're over-sexualizing me. Your guy's probably frustrated to give a compliment now because they're afraid that you're gonna, join the Me Too movement. But there's guys that could join the Me Too movement as well. There's women that are just as abusive toward the guys, okay? I want you guys to remember that, It goes both ways. What else can guys be frustrated about? Maybe they're frustrated about the idea of money. Maybe they're frustrated about, God damn it, like I want to make more money. Like I really want to make more money and bring this woman what she wants. But like, at work, I'm frustrated because there's this competition among men and we're all sitting there wearing masks, trying to be something we're not because we're trying to get the bigger position so we can make more money, so we can bring it to you and show you we're the man. There's frustrations on both ends. So I bet guys could write down just as powerful monologue. And I think in the movie, Ken kind of does, where he goes, you know what, I don't want to be in charge all the time. I don't want to lead. I just want to, I want to just be vulnerable sometimes. I want to, do you take charge sometimes? Like Will Ferrell, they made it as humor. And the movie was cute from humor perspective. There were some really cute parts. Like it wasn't cheesy. It had good quirky moments. Will Ferrell goes, we don't want to just sit around and lead all the time. Maybe we just want to maybe tickle each other at one of these board meetings. We all have a kid inside of us. The guys do just as much as the girls, okay? And I think with men, we have to remember that too. And a good example is people that are in very powerful, in charge situations with a lot of pressure and a lot of like work. I guarantee you, they would love to just be in a moment where they don't have to worry about anything. They don't have to worry about taking charge. They don't have to stress about their quarterly results, about the CEO meeting, about reporting this, about, whatever any high pressure position is. Let's say these athletes, these football players, the pressure that they go through. Let's say, who else? Where else are men? I don't know. Construction workers, maybe he's freaking out every time he goes up to wash that window. High pressure situations that call for like powerful stands. That's why you see a lot of like really powerful men to relax, they go to a dominatrix. They go to a woman that completely strips them of their power so they can relax and they can recharge. Like the guy in Billions, Paul Giamatti, Chuck. That's what he does, He's got Wendy, and Wendy helps him out. That's what happens with powerful people like that, because they're so used to being so big in the boardroom or courtroom or on the field or wherever they are in charge, that they want to go somewhere where they're this small. And sex is one way that they get to do that, through a dominatrix. And women too, women that are very like masculine, not lesbians, but women who are still female, heterosexual, and they're very strong and masculine, and they're like CEOs, CFOs, these women. I guarantee you in sex, they want to be dominated because they want to feel like, okay, I can just relax now. Trust me, relaxation is something that we all need. So the psyche, your brain, mental, your body cannot sustain pressure all the time. Even the ones who can, after a while, it ends up taking its toll on them mentally, physically, emotionally. So sex is one way where they can like level things out, where they go, okay, I will submit to you, and you know, they just want to be that like dominant, rough sexual experience with a guy. In a way, she like comes back to her place of like, okay, I feel small now, I'm submissive, and then she's like, ah. What else, guys? I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to say about this. So, to summarize everything, see the stereotypes, notice them. Stereotypes, if you want to see them, see what everybody else is doing. See how everybody else is dressed, see what everybody else is doing. And see that. That's stereotypes. Because a majority of people copy. We copy the way we dress. You see that in the way women copy each other. You see a group of girls and they're all wearing the same jeans, the same tennis shoes, the same crops, the same purses, the same hair, and they're all together like that. And it's cute, but I say, God damn it, be different. Go to your closet and say, today I will pick my outfit. You know, be like that. Be your own influencer. In this world of influencers right now, gosh, there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff on YouTube, so much stuff, says the girl who's actually contributing to that. There's so much stuff on YouTube, and I'm sitting there thinking, God damn it, there's so much like content about everything. And then I was like, well, that's great. That's kind of what the age of Aquarius is about. You know, now everybody in a way is a guru. A little guru, big guru, but everybody in a way is a teacher. Whereas before you had like one. It was like the pastor in your church, or let's say it was Jesus, or let's say it was some other prophet, or let's say it was the rabbi, or somebody who was like, and now we're all like that. You know, I have something to say, I go on YouTube, I'm good at something, I teach you, you learn, you're like, hey, you know, it's like we're kind of like helping each other, like the Aquarius, the way of like the group, you know, not one, but there's a bunch of us. There's not one leader, a bunch of us. We're all kind of like helping each other navigate. And, oh, one more thing that I was going to say. I love that this movie came out now. It came out at a perfect time, because I almost feel like, based on the content that I'm seeing on YouTube and just in movies and stuff, it's like the war of the sexes in a way. And that's why I feel like, that's why it was so polarizing, because people like, you almost have like men hating women, women hating men. I mean, you have your incels, you have your femme fatales, you know, whatever. You have your, you see it as like a war of the sexes, and you see that a lot in like YouTube videos, YouTube teachings. You know, you have guys who teach guys how to be pickup artists, how to like maneuver women. Then you have women that teach other women how to access their dark feminine energy, which I don't see it like that. I don't see it as dark feminine energy, but whatever. Plus you have a lot of like acronyms, like low value male, high value female, and you have, what else is another one that I saw? Pygmisha is another one. I mean, the creativity is just off the chart. So anyway, lots of videos on teaching each sexes how to fight and how to win in this war. When all in all, you don't need to fight. You just have to step back and say, I'm gonna be myself. And the reason, like you see guys going to these like pickup classes and all, is because they probably had a bad time when they, once again, some kind of trauma. They gave everything to the girl, she didn't appreciate it, and now it's like, God damn it, I'm gonna have my revenge. They go to these classes and they learn tricks and all that, and it's a fucking mess, because all in all, and the girls too, it's a mess, because they teach them techniques and how to play the game and the silent treatment and all that. It's fucking games. Because in the end, we all want love. In the end, we want to touch each other, be next to each other, be ourselves with that person, and just feel good together. That's all we freaking want. So, in summary, if you want, you can play the games. You can do this in the videos and self-help and about how to beat the other sex, how to outmaneuver, how to outsmart them, how to all that. Or you can just get out of the game and say, you know what? I'm never going to be an alpha male or alpha female or whatever. I am me. I am the way I am. You know, maybe I'm a mixture of alpha and beta and sigma and all that. And once again, we have all these labels. They're hilarious and you get lost in them. But I just say, just see the game for what it is, and just always remember that in the end, we're all freaking human. We all want love. We all want love and the warmth of each other. We all want that. and we hide behind games. And these games are not just in relationships, they're everywhere. They're in the boardroom, they're in Congress, they're among countries, they're among family members. They're just always games, games, games. When all in all, we just want love. Okay? So get out of the game, see the game, get out of it, create your own world, create your own brand of a woman or a man that you are, and represent that to humanity. Okay? Don't buy into what you think you need to be. So I think that's everything. Now I'm good. Now I'm satisfied. All right, guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.